Did you just get shot?
I just got it.
Dude, you fucking saved me, bro. I thought it was my body in lag or some shit. Like, you just, like, folded in front of me. Greetings, Earthlings. Happy New Year, and welcome to 2025. Today, we're taking another look at Hell Let Loose, a game so chill, it'll turn you into Matt Damon, except it's the old version, the one full of PTSD from witnessing his friends getting turned into red mist. Now, I've spent over 300 hours of my life getting okay at this game, and so I figured let me share what I've learned with you. After playing a few hours today alongside the throngs of level 1 epic game players who just joined, if you didn't know, Hell Let Loose is out for free on Epic Games, I figured the player base is split in half. Half of you love the game as it is, and the other half wants to love the game but can't because it's too damn hard. So I've put together these 8 noob commandments in the hopes that maybe I can help you get a little bit better. For the record, this isn't a technical manual on how to click your mouse better or whatever. If you would like to see a more technical manual thing, just let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. This video here is to help fix that noob mentality of yours, which so far has prevented you from enjoying this game like you should. If you do enjoy these 8 noob commandments, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. It means nothing to you, and it really means all the difference to me, so just do it, come on. Anyway, enough of this intro, let's get right into it. First commandment, communicate. Whether English is your first language or not, you should always try to communicate with your teammates. And communication can take a lot of different forms. Enemy tank, Charlie marker, accurate. It doesn't mean you have to be polluting the airwaves with nonsense every time you die. It just means you should share information with your teammates when you have any, whether it's using your voice or dropping markers on the map. As a commander and a squad leader, you have a lot of coordinating to do, and even if you're doing everything right, in the heat of battle, things can get very confusing. So your voice and insight will make all the difference for all the other players, so speak up, man. For everybody else, communicating also helps generate useful map information. So, for example, tank markers help coordinate anti-tank crews. Infantry markers let your team know which way to look and also helps artillery to know where to strike. Again, don't jam the airwaves with useless information and hot mics. But please do communicate somehow. It's really not that complicated. Second commandment, answer that call. Have you ever joined the game where it takes literally 5 minutes for squads to form because everybody's waiting for someone else to take on that sacred mantle of command? Well, that is dumb as hell. I get it. You want to unlock the flamethrower, but come on, the game's about to start and there's only one full squad, or worse, a bunch of half-empty locked squads. Basically, when everybody waits for somebody else to do the thing, no one's gonna do the thing. Whether that is creating a squad or building nodes, this game has been out for years, and to this day we still need to ask people to build nodes. You get so much XP for it, I don't understand why folks aren't climbing over themselves to play as engineer. And for those of you who don't know, nodes basically generate supplies that your commander can use to spawn tanks or perform bombing runs and that kind of thing. So if you're new to the game, do us all a favor, get out of the tank that you just got into, go be an engineer, and build some nodes. If you don't know how to do it, watch a YouTube video on it. But you're going to be loved for it, and it's also a great way to learn how to play the game away from the chaos of the front lines. Also, for you more senior folks, if you think something is going wrong in your game or something is missing, then perhaps you should be the one to fix it. No one is defending, maybe you and your squad should defend. Basically, apathy kills, and by not doing the thing that you should be doing, you're just creating more problems for everybody else. Third commandment, delegate to the individual. Have you ever heard a commander say, "Can one of you guys defend?" or "Can someone build a garrison here?" And have you noticed how usually no one ends up doing the thing? People are so busy trying not to die in this game, and now they have to also figure out if they're the person closest to the job. Like, come on, that's a lot of work. You gotta look in the map and see how far you are from stuff. Instead of being super vague about it, I think the trick to delegating, and not only in Hell Let Loose, but also in real life, is to call out a specific individual and ask if they would do that specific task for you. It's as simple as that. Instead of saying, "Can somebody build a garrison on my marker?" communicate your request like super specifically, something like, "Easy Company, Sausage Lover 69, I need you to build a garrison at E6 on my garrison marker. Can you do that?" And now the likelihood of it happening is so much higher, because by acknowledging someone individually and delegating to them specifically, you're creating a link between them and that task. Now, their options are to say yes, no, or completely ignore the request. Maybe they're under fire or not in a position to do it, but at least you will have that information and you can go ahead and ask somebody else. Leadership means making decisions, and one of those decisions is who to select for a job. Now, that doesn't mean anyone's obligated to do what you tell them. After all, this is a video game, but at least you're doing your job correctly. Fourth commandment, slow down. When you're new, you'll likely struggle to see the enemy for quite a while, probably like 20 hours. You'll be running for 5 minutes and then boom, dead. Turn a corner, dead. So what's the deal? How come everybody can see you, but you can't see them? Well, the most likely answer is that you're out in the open, moving around way too much. You have to take cover seriously in this game. Before mindlessly crossing an open field, hide in a bush first and wait a little bit. Take a look around. There are lots of houses with windows around you. Maybe someone's in there, so be cautious. You should open your map and use binoculars if you have them. Do you see dead teammates around you? How did they die? As the player base will remind you all too often and insufferably, this game is not Call of Duty or Fortnite. You don't just like run in and jump around. Fifth commandment, know when to strike. Stealth is an important aspect of this game. That means shooting at the enemy isn't always the best course of action. The element of surprise is only temporary, and so you should prolong it for as long as possible. The second you fire your weapon and kill somebody, you will bring attention to yourself. They're going to tell their teammates and they're coming to hunt you down. So you should use that wisely, especially when you're behind enemy lines. Whether you're a recon squad or not, you'll find yourself behind enemy lines. So what do? You shoot a random dude, get discovered and killed? Your life is worth way more than that. Sneak around, get far away from your OP, then hunt for enemy garrisons and supply nodes. You should be planting anti-tank mines if you have them, and watch out for incoming tanks and feed that information to your team. That's what you're supposed to do. Sixth commandment, war is push and pull. The better the server and the more experienced the players, the harder it's going to be to win. The control points are going to switch hands multiple times, and you'll see a lot more movement on the map. So paying attention to that movement of enemy troops and the flow of battle is key. I'm sure you've been there. You're about to win the game and the enemy backcaps you all the way to your spawn. They take out all your Garys. You didn't notice it. You lost. When you're surrounded from 3 directions and are getting pounded with artillery, that's the end of that. Time to pack it up. It's important that you recognize that defeat early and then adapt quickly. Losing a point is not the end of the world. So instead, a well-executed strategic retreat can give the enemy a false sense of security and push them to overextend, allowing your team to counterattack and sometimes even capture multiple points in succession if you're agile. No backup Garys equals defeat. People think defending is jamming everybody into the circle, but that's just how you increase the enemy frag count. Controlling the point actually means controlling the quadrants immediately around the point, not the point itself. When you're surrounded, the actual only way out is to outflank or regain control of the perimeter or fall back while you still can. Don't become fish in a barrel. Seventh commandment, tanks? No thanks. Tanks, love them or hate them, they can be a very effective tool on the battlefield, but why is it that 90% of the time you're getting blown up before even firing a single shot? You would think that being in an armored vehicle would provide you with protection, but actually, when you're a noob, it's easier to get killed in a tank than on foot because everybody can hear you coming and lots of people want you dead. So without help, you're done. The secret to being a good tank crew lies in surrounding yourself with friendly infantry. You could be the heaviest tank in town. If you find yourself with no friendly infantry around you, it's time to move. With light tanks, your literal job is to support infantry, so park your tank in a spot with enough cover where far away bigger tanks can't get to you, but also where you have visibility of incoming infantry. I find that being perpendicular to where the enemy is coming from works really great. But again, make sure you have friendlies nearby. The second you're alone, you're dead. I'm not saying you can't succeed by driving a tank around, hunting other tanks, and dodging and weaving and trying to go behind enemy lines. I'm just saying that your likelihood of surviving and racking up hundreds of infantry kills are much slimmer if you're isolated and far away from where the infantry is fighting. Some people like to hunt other tanks, but I personally prefer to use tanks to fight infantry and to prevent infantry from taking control of points. It's like using artillery. It might not be the most exciting thing, but preventing the enemy from pushing into a point can really help your team. And one other note on artillery, please use an online artillery calculator. You can find those by Googling it, just like Hell Let Loose artillery calculator, and remember that shells use supplies. So make sure you have nodes built before you just like start sending rounds down range when you don't have any supplies. And make sure that you're listening to command if they ask you to stop. I'll give you one more chance. Es Alfaro, I need you to stop shooting. And on that note, this is our 8th and final commandment. Morale matters. Like every other collaborative team-based game, Hell Let Loose relies on collective effort to accomplish victory. You could be Rambo himself, but if you're not playing the team objectives, you might as well go play something else. There's a few reasons why people are reluctant to be squad leaders or commanders in this game. I think number one comes down to the fact that you have to pay attention and make sure you're dropping spawn points and supplies and things like that, so you can't quite zone out and just go smoke your whatever. And the second thing comes down to teammates being dicks to each other, or ignoring squad leaders and commanders. Sure, like, it's okay that sometimes you're doing something on your own or minding your own business and trying to play your own game, but you would be surprised how effective it is when one full squad pushes together. You can do so much damage if you push objectives as a unit. That's why you have a squad. It's not like a coincidence. But worse than that, though, is the constant blaming and complaining that can happen. I'm sure you've all heard a command chat that devolves into a shit show. Or you've had a squad member join your squad just to complain about how you're playing. Let me tell you, there's nothing worse for morale than that. Of course, feedback is super important, but you gotta provide it constructively. And that also goes the other way around. A commander that's constantly blaming people or confronting people are the worst. Sure, like, sometimes people aren't doing what you're asking them to do, but yelling isn't how you're gonna get it done. It's such a better experience when command chat is chill, when the squad leads are encouraging, and everybody's kind of relaxed, being appreciative of little things like, oh, thanks for dropping an OP. It's important to say things like that. People don't immediately assume that you appreciate the things that they do, and you should be telling each other that. That makes the game so much better, and you'll likely win the next game if that's the experience you're having. But complain enough and people aren't gonna like you all that much, and eventually no one's gonna want you in their squad. Don't get me wrong, Hell Let Loose can sometimes be really frustrating, especially when you're losing. And naturally, everybody wants that sweet, sweet W, but talking heaps of shit and berating people who are perhaps new or just trying their best is a great way to not only ruin everyone else's game, but also to push new players away from your community. You were a noob once, so why take it out on people? I know that's not the way of the internet, but maybe think about that for a second. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.